Gachiakuta is scary. This chapter just reminded us how terrifying the story can be at times. And I can't lie to you guys, it definitely shocked me. But it's not all doom and gloom. It looks like Rudo is gonna put on his cape and is gonna save the day. So if you stuck to the intro, what's good fam? A new chapter of Gachiakuta just dropped. And there's a lot to dive into and talk about, so let's not waste any time and get right into it. Now that we've gotten the full context to everything about Gantis, it's safe to say that he was dealt the most tragic fate out of any character in Gachiakuta. He's the equivalent of Okuma or Nagato in the story. He's much more different than either of those characters though, as Gantis was never introduced as a villain or established as a character that you're supposed to hate or dislike. No, from the very beginning with his first conversation with Rudo, it was pretty clear that he's a guy that cares about people and just wants to do the right thing. Unfortunately, he was never able to do that, and that's because of the tough sets of circumstances he always found himself in. Like, I need y'all to realize that at no point in his life was Gantis ever truly free. Early on, he had a heart condition that should have killed him if we're being for real. The only reason why he was alive is because of the Watchmen series necklace. He was held hostage physically because of the disease and mentally because of the thoughts of him dying at any time always looming at the back of his mind. Even when he did manage to overcome this by getting an artificial heart, he was still held hostage mentally. If you guys don't know, but the weight of responsibility is a real thing that has an effect on people and genuinely crushes them. And you could honestly say the same thing happened to Mimo. This one is pretty tragic because at this point in his life, sure, he technically wasn't free because of Mimo, and I'll get to that in a sec, but Gantis genuinely believed he was free. He was happy for the most part, but he robbed himself of his own freedom. He turned his love into a duty and became obsessed with an obligation to provide to his grandparents and to Lily. And it all went wrong. The people he was working so hard for, Mimo took them away from him. And for the third time in his life, his captors shifted yet again. This time around and to the current day, Gantis is held hostage by Mimo and forced to work for him forever. The only way this is going to change is unless Rudo and the cleaners are able to defeat Mimo and help set Gantis free. As for Mimo, honestly at this point, he's forever tied to Zodiel for me. At the beginning, I didn't think Mimo could match up to Zodiel as a villain. Now, you could honestly say he's a better villain than Zodiel. I mean, if someone told me he is, I can't argue. With what he's shown in the series, I can't argue. He's genuinely close to Zodiel and might have surpassed him as a villain. He's honestly proved and established himself to be a very deeply evil individual. There's no tragic backstory with him. There's no life-altering events with him. He really is just driven by a very deep obsession to want to exert control and dominance by all means. And honestly, I give him props. Mimo has no sorts of offensive capabilities at all. He's not a fighter, and yet he's gotten to the point that he is right now, almost being in control of the whole ground by just being an extremely savvy opportunist. He kind of reminds me of Blackbeard and Kenjaku, the type of villains that waits and choose the right spot before they make a move. But again, he doesn't even have any sort of great power or offensive capabilities like these two have, and he still managed to get this far in the series. I honestly really appreciate Mimo as a villain. I kind of felt that the story of Gachiakuta was a bit too centered around the cleaners versus the raiders, and there really wasn't anything else going on aside from this. But with this Doll Festival arc, things have been very interesting and different from everything we've gotten that's happened previously in the story. And a big reason for all of this is because of Mimo. The combination of the First Job arc and the Doll Festival arc has done wonders for the story of Gachiakuta. Like guys, we've gone 2 whole arcs and 40 plus chapters of the main villains of the story, that being Zodiel and the Raiders, not being present at all. And things have been fire, things have been gas, things have been just as interesting without them. And honestly, Mimo takes a sizable amount of credit for that. I'm definitely sure Mimo won't be in the story past this arc, but what a performance. He's a great villain, And honestly, Zodio, the baton has been passed to you. Like, the next time we see Zodio in the story, he has to be very, very imposing and very, very evil. Like, he has to at least match up to the stuff we've seen from Mimo or even surpass it. Because, yeah, it ain't looking good for you, bruh. Mimo is looking like a better villain than you at this point, Zodio. Another key point that I believe is really important in this chapter is Mimo telling Rudo not to allow his goal to hold him captive. This is interesting to me because I think an emphasis has been placed in the story to show just how much Rudo has grown as a character from when he first landed in the pit to who he is right now. But we still gotta remember that this is someone whose goal is revenge. Revenge against the people in the sphere for throwing him aside, and revenge against the person who murdered Recto. When Rudo comes face to face with his goal, what exactly is he gonna do? Is he gonna do something very drastic and mess everything up? Because Mimo is warning him that, yeah, everything could go wrong if you're too obsessed with this. And I honestly believe this is the dilemma when it comes to Rudo. Currently, he's Rudo the cleaner, but he was Rudo the sphereite before. What if he comes across a decision where he has to destroy everything about the sphere? It's very interesting, in my opinion, Rudo coming towards his goal and just with exactly finding out all those secrets, all those information, like what decision is he gonna make from all of that? Urana Sensei putting this in the story, warning Rudo about his goals. I don't think it's by accident. I think it's hinting us about something in the future that Rudo could mess up. He could make a mistake and make things worse than they are originally. So yeah, I'm not going to ignore that. That's a very good hidden detail. You guys probably noticed this, and I think it's really important, but who are the ancient rulers that Mimo was referring to when he spoke to Gantis? If you guys don't remember, but in chapter 141, there were two people that were watching the cleaners take on Mimo. I personally think there's a connection between these two people and the people we saw when Momoa accessed the information broker's memory. My big headcanon idea is that there's a huge organization that's in charge and oversees everything. They are responsible for the development of the sphere and the whole class system that we see going on in the story of Gachiakuta, but they still clearly don't know a whole lot, as those two people that were observing the cleaners imply that they knew nothing about Trash Beast. I'm assuming they don't know anything about the Watchmen series too, but I do have a big brain theory for y'all. What if Tamsi is a sleeper agent for this organization that kind of controls everything, and he was tasked with infiltrating the cleaners? It's probably not true, but it's a theory I want to put out there. But guys, this statement about ancient rulers from Mimo, I would not gloss over that. This is something that's really important and probably a huge hint to the origins of the sphere and how the world currently is in Gachiakuta. I got some quick fire points from this chapter. Is Tulili the strongest character in all of Gachiakuta? Because Gantis literally said that her ability is to do anything she wants. Anything. And I know it's limited with her not being able to hurt someone, but bro, you don't need to hurt somebody to beat them. Like, bro, what if you just turn someone tiny, like to the size of an ant, and just trap them so they can't do anything? Like, you don't need to hurt somebody to get what you need to do done. I ain't gonna lie, guys, she might actually be the strongest character now in the series. Like, it's a real possibility she is. Like, I thought Lunavis was really good. I think I had an A in my tier list when I did the ranking vital instruments in Gachiakuta, but honestly, I think it's S now. I gotta put it like S. It's definitely the best vital instrument in the series now. Another thing I want to say is that, is there another dimension and layer to the 3-hour gloves? And I say this because the Watchmen series necklace, it just seemed like it allowed Gantis to control people, but apparently there's more to it now. We find out that Gantis can actually put his thoughts in voice, he can send it to someone, so it has something deeper to it. The same thing for Amu's boots too. It seemed like she could just create smells and control people based off their feelings of loved ones and emotions, but no, we actually found out that the smells extend to all types of experience, and they could basically use it for anything, like for healing and all sorts of stuff. Like, we found out that there was a deeper bag to the boots, and there's also a deeper bag to the necklace. So is there a deeper bag to the gloves? Is there more to them than what we think they can currently do? I honestly think that's the case. I think that's the only way Rudo could actually improve and get stronger. But yeah, I just found it interesting. And I gotta bring this up. At this point of the story, guys, who do you think is the best villain in the series? Zodio, Tamsi, or Mimo? Currently, I still have Zodio as the best villain in the series, but who do y'all think is the best? Zodio, Mimo, or Tamsi? And yeah, I'll throw in Jabba there. Jabba is also a very good villain. As a whole, now that we've gotten everything about Gantis and his flashback, Yeah, this is comfortably the best flashback in the story of Gachiakuta. And yeah, his story is tragic. I hope he can find some peace after Rudo defeats Mimo. And we're getting a fight next chapter, 2 Lily versus Rudo and the Cleaners. Interesting to see how that fight's gonna play out. The flashback wasn't overly long, 3 chapters. It didn't take away too much from the action. I like that, and now we're back in the action next chapter. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that fight is gonna go. I think I'll give this chapter maybe like a 8.6, 8.7. Good chapter, great chapter. I won't really change anything about it, but we've had better chapters in the story so far. That's all my thoughts. Let me know what y'all thought about this chapter. That's all for me. Peace, boys. Love y'all.